All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Achakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone and salutations to the elect. This is Brother Lawyer from Great Millstone, Miami. And hey, this lesson is going to be centered around famine and uproars. Okay. All right. And how this coming famine, these food shortages, which really is just the beginning of a famine, as it says in 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter, the beginning of famines and great death. All right. And uproars, the uproars that are happening across the globe and are coming here to America are all tied together, and it's all prophesied in the Holy Scriptures. The Scriptures already predicted this was going to happen. Okay, all right. Yahweh Shem Shai has already foretold in the Holy Scriptures through the Ruach Kodash, through the mouth of the prophets, that these things was going to happen, man. All right, and so, hey, man, hey, we on the right track, man. Prophecy is being fulfilled. And I want to start here with this article from CNN Business. And Lord willing, this video is edifying. It says from Pakistan to Peru. All right, so from the eastern to western hemisphere, from Pakistan, okay, to Peru. All right, the Middle East to South America, soaring food and fuel prices are tipping countries over the edge. Right? All right, it says London CNN Business, when people took to the streets in Egypt in 2011, protesters chanted about freedom and social justice, but also bread. The cost of pantry staples, had jumped because of the skyrocketing price of goods like wheat, stoking fury with President Hosni Mubarak. Now, more than a decade after the Arab Spring, global food prices are soaring again. They had already reached their highest level on record earlier this year as the pandemic, poor weather, and the climate crisis upended agricultural and threatened agriculture and threatened food security for millions of people. Then came Russia's war in Ukraine, making the situation much worse, right? Because Ukraine is the bread basket of the world. Okay, they produce a lot of wheat, right? And the war in Ukraine is stifling their ability to export those goods to these other nations that are relying on it. So the prices are going up, making the situation much worse, while also triggering a spike in the cost of another daily essential fuel. The combination could generate a wave of political instability as people who were already frustrated with government leaders are pushed over the edge by rising costs. So basically, what this is saying is that all of these factors, war, the pandemic, poor weather, the climate crisis, right? Okay, right? It's going to make the situation much worse for people who are already frustrated with how their leaders were running their countries. Okay, and that's going to lead them to what? Protests and riots, uproars. Okay, and that's basically, the theme of this article. I do want to just jump down to some examples that this article highlights around the world, because I'm really not trying to make this video very long. Okay, but this article highlights different parts of the world where people are uprising and rioting against the government because of the tensions and the food and the economy, right? And again, this is all according to the Holy Scriptures, man. Okay, and I'm laughing because it's just so beautiful, man. It's so exciting to see prophecy play out exactly how the events on earth play out exactly how the Scriptures detail it, And I'm gonna get to that. This is back to the article. It says where tensions are simmering in Sri Lanka, Asia, right? It says in Sri Lanka, an island nation of 22 million, and an economic and political crisis is boiling over, with protesters taking to the streets in defiance of curfews and government ministers stepping down en masse. Grappling with high debt levels and a weak economy reliant on tourism, Sri Lanka was forced to run down its reserve of foreign currency that prevented the government from making payments for key imports such as energy, creating devastating shortages and forcing people to spend hours lining up for fuel. So they are upset, man. Look at them. Angry, okay? It says its leaders have also devalued its currency, the Sri Lankan rupee, as they try to secure a bailout from the International Monetary Fund. but that made inflation worse at home. In January, it reached 14%, almost double the rate of price increases in the United States. All right, so everything out there is getting more expensive. Pakistan's parliament issued a vote of no confidence in Khan on Sunday, ousting him from power and upending his government. While his political problems date back years, claiming economic mismanagement as the cost of food, I'm sorry, of food and fuel leaped, as well as the depletion of foreign exchange reserves made matters worse. The extent of economic chaos has united opposition to Imran Khan. Kinnear of Varus Maplecroft said, right? The Middle East and Africa experts are also watching for signs of political distress in other countries in the Middle East that are heavily dependent on food imports from the Black Sea region and often provide generous subsidies to the public. In Lebanon, where nearly three-quarters of the population was living in poverty last year as a result of a political economic collapse, so they were already jacked up. Between 70% and 80% of imported wheat comes from Russia and Ukraine. Key grain silos were also destroyed during the 2020 explosion at the Beirut port. And Egypt, the world's largest buyer of wheat, is already seeing enormous pressures on its huge subsidized program for bread. The country recently set a fixed price for unsubsidized bread after prices spiked, and is trying to secure wheat imports from countries like India and Argentina instead. With an estimated 70% of the world's poor living in Africa, the continent will also be very exposed to rising food and energy prices. Areski said droughts and conflicts in countries like Ethiopia, Somalia, South Sudan, and Burkina Faso have created a food security crisis for more than a quarter of the continent's population. Dang! The International Committee of the Red Cross said this week the situation risks getting worse in the coming months. Oh man, the situation risks getting worse in the coming months. It continued. Political instability has already been building in parts of the continent. A series of coups have taken place in West and Central Africa since the start of 2021. So these people are upset, man. They're not getting their food. The food prices are going up. There are food shortages taking place. They were already suffering famine in Africa. Okay, already threatened with famine in the Middle East for years. Okay, so what they're doing, they're frustrated. All right, so what they have risen up with their government in a series of coups. Okay, all right, which, hey, those of us who have been studying the scriptures know exactly, all right, what scriptures to go to in Second Ezra, man. All right, which means what? It says a series of coups. So let me look up the word coup real quick. Real quick, man. Now, this is great. This is great. It says a coup, a sudden, violent, and illegal seizure of power from the government, a noble stroke or move, a notable or successful stroke or move. So an overthrow, a takeover, so an ousting, a deposition. Okay. All right. So basically, they're seizing power from their government. Okay. All right. They said, hey, man, this government, they're not governing us properly. We're tired of it. Hey, you guys, we're hungry. We're dissatisfied. We don't like it. Get out. You know what I'm saying? Riots, uproars, right? Europe, even countries with more developed economies, man, which have greater buffers to shield citizens from painful price increase, won't have tools to fully cushion the blow. Thousands of protesters gathered in cities across Greece this week. This is in Europe, okay? And this article is going back to April 9th, earlier this month, right? To demand higher wages to counter inflation, right? Because the prices are going up, but because the cost of living is going up, but they're not getting paid enough to keep up with the cost of living, food, gas, energy prices, bills, right? So they're like, nah, man, we gotta protest. We gotta, protest. Hey, raise the wages, right? So we can eat, right? So we can live, so we can have our standard of living back. While France's presidential election is narrowing as far-right candidate Marine Le Pen plays up her plan to reduce the cost of living, President Emmanuel Macron's government said last month it is considering issuing food vouchers so that middle and low income families can afford to eat. All right, so the poor are being affected. Okay, now let's hop into these scriptures. Hey, as prophesied, it's going down. Okay, this is this is Matthew chapter 24:6, and this is Yahweh Shai talking. All right, this is him speaking. All right, it says, for a nation shall, I'm sorry, going up to verse 6, it says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, right, which the article did talk about war, okay? All right, the war in Ukraine, between Russia and Ukraine. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows, okay? All right, so the Lord prophesied of famines, of wars, okay? Let's see, commotions. Another scripture on uproars, right? Luke chapter 21, verse 9. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, all right, those uproars, those protests the article was going into, those are commotions. What's the word commotion mean? Akatastasia. Oh my gosh. That's a perfect definition.
Strong's G 181. Akatastasia. Akatastasia.
Right? It says instability, a state of disorder, disturbance, confusion, tumult, commotion, disorder, instability. Is that not what the article is talking about? Instability, commotion, disorder. Okay, disturbance, tumult. That's what the article is talking about, man. Okay, all right. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Okay. Then said he unto them, nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines and pestilences and fearful sights. These famines, food shortages, energy prices going up, inflation. That's a fearful sight to these people. Now we are excited, okay, but the world, these people in the world who ain't got no hope, they are afraid. They are scared, okay, and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven, okay. Going to Second Ezra, man. I've been waiting to bring this out the whole time, man. Okay, it says it says in verse 22 of the 6th chapter, Second Ezra 6:22, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Okay, so the full storehouses. Look up the word storehouse. Storehouses. This is where you store food at. Okay. A building used for storing food, such as your grocery store, your warehouses, right? Okay. Shall be found suddenly empty, man. Food shortages are going on, man. All right? That's what's going down on earth, man. Okay? All right? That's why this is prophesied in the Bible. 2 Ezra chapter 6, verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. Okay? Let's go to sown places. Sowing. To sow seed, land with seed. Okay. Why is the sown places being appeared unsown? Why is that? Okay, because guess what? The price of fertilizer is also going up, which means the farmers are screwed. Okay. All right, they're gonna have to resort to other means in hopes of yielding crops for the coming months and years, man. Okay. Which means what? Food shortages, inflation, famine. People gonna starve. Okay. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown in the full storehouses, the place where people store food. Your grocery stores, your warehouses shall be found suddenly empty. And the trumpet shall give a sound, and every man, which when every man heareth, they shall be afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. Okay. All right. So eventually, you're gonna have people fighting against each other for food, man. Okay. All right. People on earth gonna be afraid, and it's gonna be a lack of water too. Okay. Second Ezra chapter 9. Second Ezra chapter 9, verse 1, it says, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. Okay? That's what's happening. Then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Okay? So this is a sign that the Lord's getting ready to come back. Okay? For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, even so the times of the highest have plain beginnings and in wonders and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. This is a sign, man. We're at the end. That's why this is happening. That's why you see, I'm gonna go down. It says uproars of the people. You see? Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. See this picture? War has brought the world to a brink of a food crisis. This is an article. Another article. Wow. Wow. Look at the field. Sown places unsown. Look at them. Look at them. You see? You see? Uproars of the people in the world. Angry. Mad. Okay? Second Ezra chapter 15. Second Ezra chapter 15, verse 5, it says, Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, sword, famine. Okay, that's what's going down, famine. Soaring food prices. Okay? Global crisis. Why? Because of war. Because of climate change. Because of weather. Okay? Food crisis. There you go. Right there. Look. Look at that. Look at that. This goes back to on March. Okay? So this has been being reported, man. All right? It says, Sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Okay? Jumping down to verse 14, it says, Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands, man. Okay? Now it's gonna give you the explanation why. Okay? For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings' coups. Okay? Overthrow. They got to violently seize power. All right? All right, it says, For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Okay? Cool. A sudden, violent, and illegal seizure of power from a government, which means they don't care. They're rising up against their government. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. That's happening in Shanghai, China right now. City being locked down. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Okay, that's why. That's why they're rising up against their government. That's why they're fighting against each other. That's why they're rising up against the powers that be. That's why there's uproars. Okay, that's why violence is increasing. Why? Because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. All of this prophesied in the scriptures. Okay? That's why. Okay? So again, all of this is all in the scriptures, man. You can't get around it. Okay. Call Lauren like Habashim Yahushua. This is beautiful, man. This is beautiful, man. Everything the Lord has been saying down to the detail is happening. Okay? Alright, so hey, just want to bring that out real quick, man. You know, hey, call Haloim like Habashim Yahushua, man. We gotta stay in this truth, man. You gotta hold fast, man. Hold fast, man. The Lord said, hey, hold fast what thou hast. and no man take that crown. You know, if you keep the word of the Lord's patience, he will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth, man. Eventually, it's gonna get so bad. Esau's gonna push the M to the O to the T to the B. All right, the M to the Izzo, the T to the Bizze. All right, on people so they can eat and so that they can operate and get their little rations and survive whatever it is they think that they're gonna do with that. And if you take it, you're gonna eat a nuke. But the Lord promised His servants that we're gonna eat, drink, and rejoice and be merry in that time. So, hey, let's stick to it, man. Let's keep doing this work. And with that, I want to give all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bahasham Chakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone and salutations to the elect. Shalom.